Are you tired of the sleepless nights and having to rock or feed your baby to sleep every time they go down for a nap or wake up in the middle of the night? Then keep watching this video. Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. It's Stacey here, and today's video is my guide to sleep training your baby. So this is a guide that I came up with from watching so many different sleep training videos. I can't actually count on my hands how many times I have seen a different sleep training video. I was quite worried at the start. It was so overwhelming with all of these different sleep training guides. They're all completely different to each other, and it was all very, very confusing. So I thought I would share with you my sleep training guide. At the end of the video, I'll be sharing my sleep training essentials that have made my life so much easier and will make your sleep training experience a lot smoother. It is a very easy guide to follow, but I do want to say before I get into this video that I am not a medical professional, and if you don't feel like your baby is actually ready to do the sleep training, then please don't go ahead with it. This is not a professional sleep training guide. This is just something I came up with through my experience of sleep training my 6-month-old son, Castiel. He is a lot younger than what's recommended by other mums that have sleep trained their baby. So Cass was almost 4 months. He wasn't quite 4 months, and I'm pretty sure they all recommend starting from 4 months. But I felt that Cass was ready. However, if you don't feel like your baby's ready, do not go ahead with this. This is not something I am trying to force on you. This is just my opinion, and I'm just trying to help out as many people as I can. You may be worried that leaving your baby cry for long periods of time will affect their mental health in some way, that is going to make them unhappy and they won't love you anymore, and that is complete and utter crap. We've been told by medical professionals, like our health visitors or some doctors that don't agree with sleep training, that it will affect their mental health and they will turn into psychopaths when they're older, and all these other horrible horror stories that you get told, and it's complete and utter bullcrap. And I say bullcrap because I'm pretty sure my little brothers are watching this video and I don't want them to hear me swear. I really, really hate that they tell you this and scare you into not letting your child be independent. I really feel that sleep training will help your child become more independent and less dependent on you, and put the less stress on you. I mean, if your baby doesn't learn to self-soothe, you will never be able to leave your baby with someone else, because they will always be dependent on you and expect you to go and do everything for them. And I know they're babies and you do have to do pretty much everything for them, but putting them to sleep should not be one of them. They need to learn their independence, and that you're not always going to be there to put them to sleep. I mean, yes, if you're going to leave your child cry for hours and hours and hours on end every single day, they probably would start getting some kind of mental health problem from it. But you're leaving your child cry for like 30 to 60 minutes. I really don't think it's going to affect them at all. I mean, look at this face right here. Do you really think that he has been damaged by me sleep training him and helping him become more independent? He is one of the happiest babies I've actually ever known. And he has been sleep trained now for 2 months. What inspired me to make this video today is that I have actually helped someone with sleep training their baby. She didn't sleep train her son, and he is now 6 months old. He would need to be fed to go to sleep, and he'd fall asleep whilst feeding, and then she'd put him down, and 3-4 hours later he would wake up and want to be fed again, but he wasn't actually hungry. It was just he was dependent on feeding to put him back to sleep. He didn't know how to do it himself. I did share with her my guide to sleep training, and it worked. So I really wanted to share with you guys my tips on sleep training your baby, and hopefully give to some of you out there a break and some really well-deserved sleep. Let's get into it. My first tip is you need to create a nighttime routine. And I think this is like the core of getting your baby to sleep, because then they know what to expect every night and they'll get more and more used to it, and they won't need as long to go to sleep. I really feel like this is like the basis of sleep training. You really, really, really need to have a nighttime routine. So I will go through with you my routine that I have with Cass. You don't have to do this routine, but if you do want to, I will link it below so you can take it for yourselves and use it or adjust it. You don't have to do the exact one, but it's just to give you an idea of what I mean by a nighttime routine. So between 6 and 6:15, Cass will be fed solid food, and then at 6:30 he will go for a bath. We try and stretch his bath time out until about 10 to 7 o'clock. At 7 o'clock we take Cass out the bath and then get him dressed and ready for bed. So at 7:15 we give Cass a bottle, and then we put him to bed at 7:30, and he goes down awake. Cass goes to bed at 7:30, but I'm not saying every baby should. If you don't want your baby to go down at 7:30, then you can put them down at 8 or 8:30. It really depends on what you want to do, but I would say a 7:30 bedtime is a perfect bedtime if you're following my plan of them going to sleep at 4:30 and wake up at 5:30. So they're only actually awake for 2 hours and then they go to sleep. This means that they won't get overtired, but I have found that if they are overtired, then they won't go to sleep half as easy as if they are ready to go to sleep. Once I put Cass down awake, he will probably cry for about 10 to 15 minutes. Sometimes he goes straight down without crying, and I'm not saying like crying like as in screaming, like he cries as in like he's moaning more than crying. But at the start he did cry a lot, and it's basically just because he is getting used to you not putting them down to sleep by feeding or rocking them. He has to learn to put himself to sleep. So you have to expect in the first maybe couple of days, sometimes a week, whilst the baby is getting used to it, they won't be happy. However, my friend who I helped the other day, her baby went down after 45 minutes of crying for the first night, and for the second night it only took her baby 20 minutes. I mean, that is amazing. So like I said, it can take a couple of days or it can take a week, but after that your baby will know how to put themselves to sleep and they won't be waking up half as much at night. Sometimes they won't wake up at all. They will sleep through until 6-7 o'clock. So you want your baby to go down drowsy but awake, and increase this over the next couple of weeks. So they'll be drowsy but awake on the first night, maybe the same the second night, but as the nights go on you want them to be more and more alert. So Cass now goes down to bed awake, so he's just been playing in the sitting room and then he goes to bed. They will go to sleep. They're going to get tired at some point and they will fall asleep, and the more and more you practice this with them, they will go to sleep faster and faster with less crying. You need to be ready for them to cry for about 45 minutes, sometimes longer. Some people say to go in every 5, then 10, then 15, then 20 minutes and keep going until it gets to 45 minutes and then leave it for 45 minutes until you go in there again. However, I wouldn't recommend doing that, because I found in my experience that Cass would get really annoyed with me if I went in there, put my hand on his chest and said, "I love you, but it's time to go to sleep," and then left the room. He would be worse than he was when I had just left him and they're crying. So I would personally recommend just leaving them. And it sounds like a really brutal way to sleep train your baby, I know. I didn't really think I was going to do it like that in the first place, but it's what worked, because you're not going in there and disrupting the process of putting themselves to sleep. You're just leaving them to it, and they will go to sleep at some point. You know, they will. Unless your baby looks like they are in pain or sounds like they're in pain and something's wrong, obviously go in there then. But if they're just having a big tantrum in their cot that you're not going in there and feeding them to sleep, then leave them. But if they are still screaming and you do get concerned, then go in there, tell them that you love them, reassure them that you are there, and then leave again. But don't stay in there for longer than 10 seconds. If you're in there any longer, they'll get attached to you being in there and it'll make everything so much worse. But again, if they are not screaming and they are just moaning or crying, leave them be. They will go to sleep. You need to remember, whilst you're going through this process, that you're not making them cry, you're letting them cry. You're in control of this whole thing, and if you really feel like your baby isn't ready for it, then stop it straight away and then maybe try and do it again like in a couple of weeks time. But your baby will cry, so you really need to be ready for that. So a tip for when they wake up at night time, because I couldn't find anywhere online or on YouTube about what to do in the middle of the night if they wake up. Do you get them up and feed them, or do you leave them? So I found in my experience, if Cass woke up in the middle of the night and it was between midnight and 4:30, I would get him up if he hadn't stopped crying after 30 minutes. So I'd say 30 minutes a night is your cut-off point. If they're not sleeping at that point, then I would get them out of bed, feed them, put them back down, drowsy but awake. Again, they have to be awake because they need to know how to put themselves to sleep. So put them down, drowsy but awake, and then leave them be. And they should hopefully go back to sleep. However, if it is past 4:30, you have to leave them. That's a tip that I did find. I can't remember where I found it, but that is something that I did learn, was that you should leave them after 4:30 in the morning if they have woken up then. So anytime after 4:30, leave them be. Do not go near them. Don't even go in the room with them. If you're in the same room, don't make eye contact with them. Don't go near them. That's something that I learned, and I think it's helped a lot. Cass doesn't tend to wake up but to be fed after 4:30. If he wants to be fed, he'll normally wake up around 3. And that's normally only if he's going through a growth spurt. And I do want to mention that if your baby is going through a growth spurt, then they probably will want to be fed, and they actually need to be. So don't ignore it. If they don't get back to sleep after 30 minutes, then get up, feed them, put them back to bed. But if they do go back to sleep, then they should be fine because they're not actually hungry. They're just used to having you there to get them up and comfort them. Now I'll go through my sleep training essentials. So these are things that I have found that have really helped me with the sleep training process. The first item I would recommend is getting a grow bag. This is one that I got for Cass. It was only about £13, I think, and it's really good. It's got these little poppers at the top, which when you just do them up, it just makes it so your baby can't kick their covers off and then wake up and be really cold. And I found that when I was just using a blanket, he wouldn't go to sleep for one thing, and when he did, he would then kick it off in the middle of the night and then he would be cold and wake up. So a grow bag is definitely something I would recommend. But if your baby is anything like Cass, then put some socks on them if they are going to bed in pyjama bottoms. And I say this because Cass worked out that if he was to push on the bag and he had no socks on, he can use the grip with his feet and pull it so hard that the poppers undo and kick the bag off. So I put socks on his feet now so he can't actually get the grip, it kind of slides off. The next thing I'd recommend is getting a video baby monitor. And the reason why I'd recommend this over a sound monitor is because you can see what's going on. We didn't sleep train him until we got one because I was really worried that I wouldn't know if anything was actually wrong with him or if he was just being silly. So we got a video baby monitor. This one is the Motorola one, and it wasn't very expensive. We got it on sale at Boots for about 50, I think it was like 50 or 60 pounds, which was a really good deal. It's made our lives so much easier, so I can look on there and actually see if he's in trouble or if he's just screaming because he doesn't want to go to sleep. And I would really recommend it. Another thing I would recommend getting is a comforter at some point. So it's just like a little teddy or something that they like, or something they're really attached to. So then when they go to sleep, they can cuddle it, or if they're like Cass, they'll just throw it down the cot somewhere. But it gives them something to play with or do before they go to sleep, and they'll normally just go to sleep chewing it or something. But again, if you don't feel comfortable doing that, then don't. It's pretty simple. If you don't feel comfortable doing some of these things, then try and adapt my sleep training routine to your own needs. It really is just a flexible routine you can change around. And that's essential, I say you'll need, is a white noise machine. So Cass was never interested in a white noise machine before we started sleep training him. When I started sleep training him and people were recommending the white noise machines, I was kind of like, oh, it's not going to work because Cass doesn't actually react very well to it. He doesn't go to sleep with it. But I did get a white noise app on my phone at the start, and it worked so well. He went to sleep so quickly with the white noise machine when he's trying to put himself to sleep. It was a lifesaver. We did then, however, invest in a My Hummy, as it plays the white noise over 12 hours, and I really would recommend getting one because it can go in the cot with them. There's no worry of it overheating, and also if you don't want the white noise going over the 12-hour period, you can also put it on to the normal setting, which means it'll go on for 60 minutes, and then if your baby starts to stir, then it will turn back on. So it's got like a little sleep sensor on it. So that's it. It's a very basic plan and it should be easy enough to follow. I am going to do a follow-up video next week on nap training because it's a little bit different and it's a little bit harder to do. But if you are interested in doing the nap training, I would really recommend doing it alongside with sleep training, as they both complement each other so well. Because if your baby doesn't sleep for long enough during the day, then at night time your baby won't sleep because they're overly tired. I really hope you guys have benefited from this video and that you can start getting some well-deserved sleep at night time. So I really hope this video has helped some of you guys and that you start to get some well-deserved sleep. If you have any questions for me, then please just comment below or send me an email. I've put my email in the description bar if you need I really hope this video has benefited you guys and that you get some well-deserved sleep soon. If you have any questions for me, then please comment below or send me an email. My email is in the description if you want some more advice on sleep training. My nap training video will be either next week or the week after, so please stay tuned for that if you are interested in getting your baby to nap during the day. If you've liked this video, then please like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week.